Welcome to NSG 229, Study Session 6, Child Survival Strategies, Growth Monitoring of Children. Introduction. Is a child of 1 month different from a 3-month-old baby? How do you know? The difference may be clear, but we can only be able to ascertain the growth of a child by measuring or monitoring the child. In this study session, you learn the meaning of growth monitoring, the parameter for growth assessment, arms and rationale for growth assessment, assessment of growth, recommended intervals and parameters for growth monitoring and chart use. Learning outcomes. At the end of the study session, you should be able to 1. Explain the parameters for growth assessment and highlight the aims and rationale. 2. Discuss assessment of growth and recommended intervals for growth monitoring. 3. Describe which charts to use, how to use them, and criteria for referral. Meaning of growth monitoring. Growth monitoring consists of routine measurements to detect abnormal growth. The general health and nutrition of a child over a period of time are accurately reflected in the child's growth and development. Growth monitoring is a screening tool to diagnose nutritional, chronic systemic, and endocrine disease at an early stage. It has been suggested that growth monitoring has the potential for significant impact on mortality, even in the absence of nutrition supplementation or education. Monitoring the growth of a child requires taking the same measurement of regular intervals, approximately at the same time of the day, and seeing how they change. A single measurement only indicates the child's size at that moment. Growth monitoring is one of the basic activities of the under 5 clinics where the child is weighted periodically. The aim is to identify undernutrition, mostly severe protein, energy malnutrition, for feeding programs or to provide data on nutritional status. There are no national policies for growth monitoring beyond the age of 6 years. Growth monitoring differs greatly among pediatricians and often is not based on evidence. The parameters for growth assessment. The parameter for growth assessment includes weight measurement, height measurement, head circumference, arm circumference, weight for height. Weight measurement. A single value is of less use than an idea of trend given by multiple visits. Changes in weight occur more rapidly than those in height, so weight is used to assess the more recent health of a child. Height measurement. A measurement box is required for accurate values in an infant. Height changes take time to develop, so a child's health for age is used as an indicator of that child's nutrition over a long period. Children who fall below 90% of the median for their age are called stunted. Head circumference. This measurement is easily made with a tape measure as long as care is taken to ensure that the maximum circumference of the head is taken. This observation is used in the ratio of arm circumference to head circumference, providing a quick index of a child's nutrition. The usual ratio of arm to head circumference is 0.33. Arm circumference. This is measured at the midpoint of the left upper arm and expressed in centimeters. Between the ages of 1 and 5 years, the increasing growth in muscle mass is balanced by a decrease in the amount of fat so that the mid-arm circumference remains fairly stable. The median value is 16.5 centimeters. The warning sign for early malnutrition is a circumference between 5 and 13.5 centimeter. Weight for height. When assessing stunting, it is necessary to know the child's age in order to plot the height for age point. When assessing nutrition using a weight for height chart, it is not necessary to know the child's age. Aims and rationale for growth assessment. Primary aim: to identify children with growth deviation, that is, undernutrition or overnutrition, and conditions that manifest through abnormal growth. Secondary aims: to discuss health problems related to feeding, hygiene, immunization, and other aspects of child health and behavior. Education of parents to allay anxiety about their child's growth, to sensitize pediatricians to use growth charts. Assessment of growth. The general health and nutrition of a child over a period of time are accurately reflected in the child's growth and development. The front of the chart is a plot of age against weight, covering the child's first 5 years. For the WHO growth chart, the upper curve represents the 50th percentile median for boys, while the lower curve represents the 3rd percentile for girls. The intervals and parameters recommended for growth monitoring varies from age to age. Box 6.1. Intervals for growth monitoring. Below 6 months, once fortnightly. 6 to 18 months, monthly. After 18 months, every 6 months. From 6 years, yearly till 18 months. 1. Birth to 3 years. Immunization contact at birth: 6, 10, and 14 weeks. 9 months, 15 to 18 months may be conveniently used for growth monitoring. An additional monitoring visit at 6 months with opportunistic monitoring at other contacts, illness is recommended. Normally, growing babies should not be weighted more than once per fortnight under 6 months, and no more than monthly thereafter, as this increases anxiety. After 18 months, measurements are to be taken every 6 months. It is recommended that the height, weight, and head circumference be measured up to 3 years of age. Penile length, PL, and testicular descent should be ascertained in the newborn period. 2. 4 to 8 years. It is recommended that height and weight be measured 6 monthly during this period, and body mass index, BMI, PL, and SMR should be assessed yearly from 6 years of age. 3. 9 to 18 years. It is recommended that height, weight, BMI, and SMR be assessed yearly during this period. Chart use. Although the world's children appear to follow a similar growth pattern, still there are variations due to ethnic, geographical, and regional factors, giving different rates of maturation and adult stature. The final height of different ethnic groups is different, even accounting for secular trends. Thus, for assessment, a national representative sample of population data are ideal as growth standards. How to use growth charts. 1. At the first visit, the child's name, date of birth, and other details should be entered on the growth chart, and the chart should be explained to the parent. This ensures that they are interested in it and are more likely to keep it properly and bring it at each visit. The growth chart should be kept with the parent in a plastic sleeve. 2. Measure the parents and make a note of their height on the chart. Calculate the child's target height and plot it at 18 years and mark it with an arrow on the growth chart. This represents the child's projected height and its present height center can be judged by tracing a line backward from this target height, and this represents the third and the 97th center for that child. Taking those 2 points above and below the target height, 97th and 3rd centers are constructed by tracing lines backwards to match the current age. 3. All the points on the growth chart should be marked only as dots and not circles around the dots. 4. The height and weight should be recorded and head circumference till 3 years and plotted on the chart. At all subsequent visits, join the dot up to the previous dot. 5. Remind parents of the time for the next measurement. Criteria for referral. 1. First 3 years. Length, height, weight, or head circumference below 3rd percentile or above 97th percentile on growth chart. Crossing of 2 major percentile lines upward or downward, e.g., going from above 75th percentile to below 50th percentile on height or weight charts. A child below or above mid-parental range for height or length, weight loss or lack of weight gain for a month in the first 6 months. Absence of weight gain for 2 to 3 months from 6 to 12 months of age. Micro penis. Unilateral or bilateral undescended testes. Ambiguous genitals. 2. 3 to 9 years. A child below or above mid-parental range for height or length. BMI over the 85th percentile at all ages. Rate of growth less than 5 cm in a year. Girls with auxiliary pubic hair growth or breast budding before 8 years, and boys with auxiliary pubic hair growth, genital growth, and testicular enlargement before 9 years. Children with cariospinal irradiation or surgery for brain tumors. Micropenis. 3. 9 to 18 years. Height below 3rd percentile or above 97th percentile on growth charts. Crossing of 2 major percentile lines upward or downward, e.g., going from above 75th percentile to below 50th percentile on height or weight charts. A child below or above mid-parental range for height. BMI over the 85th percentile at all ages. Arrest at the same stage of puberty for more than 2 years. Micropenis. Unilateral or bilateral gynecomastia in boys. Hirsutism and menstrual irregularities in girls. Delayed puberty, that is, girls with no breast budding by 14 years or no menarche by 15 years, and boys with no signs of puberty at 16 years. Summary. 1. Growth monitoring is a screening tool to diagnose nutritional, chronic, systemic, and endocrine disease at an early stage. The parameter for growth assessment includes weight measurement, height measurement, head circumference, arm circumference, weight for height. 2. The general health and nutrition of a child over a period of time are accurately reflected in the child's growth and development. Recommended intervals and parameters for growth monitoring is that a baby below 6 months, once fortnightly, 6 to 18 months, monthly after 18 months, every 6 months, from 6 years, yearly till 18 months. 3. To use the chart, the details of the child should be taken down in the growth chart and explain it to the parent. The parent's height are measured and noted on the chart. The child's target height is calculated and plotted to 18 years and marked with an arrow on the growth chart. All the points on the growth chart should be marked only as dots and not circles around the dot. The height and weight should be recorded. End of study session 6. Thanks for listening.